I'd just like to make this quick video to explain what we've been doing over this year in performance research, because as for the assessments on the blog, I can only show my bibliography and my essay, but I'd just like to go into depth to some of the things that we've studied this year. So the most part of it being sort of early 20th century theatre, some 19th century theatre, and major movements there. So we've looked at Dada and Surrealism and Futurism, in these three in particular, and we've looked at the way in which particularly the First World War changed the art world majorly, and how this has impacted all of the arts, but in this case theatre in particular, and how these were linked specifically politically. The Surrealist movement was very closely linked to Marxism and the socialists, Salvador Dali, for instance, again, not an actor or theatre practitioner, but a major surrealist, became unpopular within the movement because he was not a socialist, and created some works which offended the group. Whereas the Futurists, for instance, were on the far right and obsessed with movement and violence and so on. And they were obsessed, I say, with action and things happening. A lot of their paintings, even paintings are still, but you can see movement, and they very cleverly showed ways to draw it. And they would make performances that were intentionally disruptive, and they would sell tickets for the same seat, and in the hopes that there would be fights and things like this, which mirrors a very this whole hope for conflict. It mirrors this sort of fascist social Darwinist ideas that were also going around, certainly in Italy and Germany. And their theatre would use a lot of techniques that were similar to Artaud in some ways, where they would use incredibly loud sounds and very shocking imagery and lights and so on. That the point was that it was not a subtle art that you could take in. It really hit you and made you react to it. And of all that we've looked at, I really admired the futurist work. Perhaps not the political side of it, but I would say it's interesting that Brecht could be so closely linked to Marxism and have such an influence on non-Marxist theatre practitioners. Why can the futurists, if not even in theatre, but in the rest of art, could not have more of an impact without people embracing far-right politics? That's something that's really interested me, that I'd like to look into, and see if there are places that their artistic influence has carried on. The studies that we've done in performance research have linked into alternate spaces as well. Looking at theatre, certainly around this time, tried to escape from traditional bourgeois theatres and come into different places, certainly in festivals and so on. But I'll talk about this more on the Alt Spaces page in a video I'll do there.